Hi, I'm Tarushi. I am an engineer in IT and I have a 1 year of prior work at a startup in the marketing domain. I have done my MBA from XIM Bhubaneswar and my internship was for Titan in the brand Zoya. It was in the marketing domain and in the customer experience domain. Before joining, one of the prerequisites that I did was to understand if there are any case studies present currently that the brands or other organizations have used, which is matching my project. Beyond that, I also made it a point to speak to my mentor before the actual internship began. He gave me a few pre-readings. I also read a few research papers from the XIM library. And I believe all these will build up more on your project and will help you to sail through smoothly in your entire summer internship project. Right. So the two qualities that I would like to speak about are first, discipline and sincerity. A candidate must possess discipline and sincerity in all the work that has been assigned to them by their mentors. Beyond the mentors, there are also other prerequisites that are given by other stakeholders, and the candidate needs to ensure that the work which is given is fulfilled. Beyond that, the other qualities that I would like to talk about is that a candidate has to be on their toes completely. They also need to find a way to navigate through the problems and come to a solution. As I mentioned, the case studies that we receive from the company, as well as the case studies that are available on the internet, help us to understand what the project is all about. First is the readings that you need to do. Beyond that, you need to ensure that all the work which is given to you by your mentors is to be done. You need to find a unique path. You need to find a out of the box solution. You need to find a method which will help the company in an efficient manner. Beyond this, the company also looks out for candidates who can find their own way, who can navigate through problems. A company also looks for a candidate. Say, a mentor basically will not be always available. You need to find different stakeholders by whom you can communicate and find a path and hence sail through your entire internship project. Speaking about my internship, it was typically in a hybrid mode. The first month of my internship was an online phase. The second month was more of an offline phase wherein I visited the stores and spoke to various people. In the first month of my internship, I remember I used to set up calls with different people, not only limiting myself to speaking to people of my brand, but also speaking to people beyond my brand. It is very imperative to understand what an organization stands for and their workings, and hence it is imperative to understand viewpoints of every person who is involved in that organization. Beyond this, in the second month, since I had an offline internship, I tried to speak to everyone, right from the people working at the store to the people at the manager level and to the business heads. I believe that communicating from people and learning from their experiences is one thing which really helps us out. Speaking about my internship, which was in the customer experience domain, the brand had not implemented that. And hence, it was necessary for me to understand from other people's perspective about what customer experience means to them. It also meant that I need to understand and make an efficient process, basically an end-to-end solution, which will help the brand to measure customer experience. Now, for this, the thing that I did is I spoke to the stakeholders at the organization. I also went a step ahead and spoke to people beyond the brand. I spoke to people from the other organizations and tried to understand from them. The biggest advantage that XIM has is a database of such a big alum. We can get in touch with the alums and try to understand from them if they have done a project which is similar. We can try to understand and take away their learnings, and hence we can implement it in our project as well. So the curriculum at XIM has been designed very beautifully. The courses that are taken up by the faculties give you a understanding from the ground level. And beyond that, the case studies which are provided by the faculty help you to navigate through your problems, since you already know about the problem that a company has faced. And hence, it will help you to understand more and understand it deeply. And hence I believe the curriculum supplements your summer internship project and is an add-on. So the advice that I would have for the future interns is to be confident. You have made it through XIM and you will fail through this internship. Be confident of the things that you have studied in your first year. Be thorough with the basic knowledge of every subject that you have, because it will help you to understand what the conversations are taking place in the summer internship. The second part that I would also like to speak about is believe in yourself, and you are halfway through. Thank you so much.
Okay, so hi, I'm Janhvi Mohanty. I have a background of BBA from Christ University, Bangalore. After wherein I moved to XIM, of course, to pursue my MBA. My internship was with L'Oreal India in the professional products department. And in a nutshell, my internship was to drive Matrix Hair Care on Amazon, which was recently launched. Right. So with L'Oreal, they don't expect a lot out of you in terms of technical skills. But what you do need to be prepared with is understand the company through and through. L'Oreal is a company, L'Oreal is a very multifaceted company which stands for a lot of things. So I think before your internship, what I personally did was understand the company, understand the products, understand the market, and understand my project charter specifically. Technical skills is something which will come and go. You will use sometimes, you will not use sometimes. But one thing that is constant throughout the internship is being very observant about how L'Oreal works, about how they market their products, about the values they communicate while marketing their products. And one of the things that helped me in my pre-preparation period was I understood the company, I understood what they stand for. That is how it was easy for me to align my ideas with L'Oreal's ideas. Right. So L'Oreal doesn't have a set template of qualities or skills that they look for in their interns. They handpick interns across the country, which bring something very different to the table. So to this day, I haven't figured out what I brought to the table, but I think according to my learnings, L'Oreal is a company which looks for driven, creative people who try to bring solutions, but those solutions are they have 7 to 8 sides of it. So, in order to become a successful L'Oreal intern, you have to open your eyes to everything that they do. They are not just a beauty company, they're not just a beauty tech company. They are a company who market beauty, they are a company who empower, they are a company who is a global leader. So, I think being one of the contributors to this sort of a legacy, if I would say, you need to bring something different in the way that you think and in the way that you communicate. Technical skills is someone that everybody and anybody can take up, and during the internship what you can do is upskill yourself or downskill or whatever. But I think the qualities that you bring to the internship is as an intern you understand the company, you understand what L'Oreal stands for, and in the solutions that you recommend, you have the L'Oreal thinking, which you I think will develop in the course of 2 months. Definitely. I think cross domain knowledge gives you an edge anywhere, not just a L'Oreal internship. Let's take example of my project. My project was driving Matrix on Amazon, but over the course of 2 months, I made sure that I sort of spread my hands everywhere. I took part in managing a lot of BioLarge operations, which is another hair care brand under the professional products division. I looked after L'Oreal Professional as well. And although these things weren't mentioned in my charter, and these weren't the brands I was responsible for, but spreading my wings everywhere sort of helped me gain a wholesome knowledge about how L'Oreal works and how the hair care industry is in today's market. And speaking about cross domain knowledge, I think even though it's not a very quintessential prerequisite to being a L'Oreal intern or in the FMCG industry, it definitely opens your eyes to a lot of multifaceted solutions. So, for example, in the beginning of my internship, my role was only to look at Matrix's sales, or let's say how Matrix is performing on Amazon, how the product display page is looking. But over the course, I took up some supply chain concepts as well, which led me to understand if Matrix is out of stock on Amazon, why is it out of stock? So my point zero was not that matrix is out of stock. My point zero was that there is some problem in the warehouse. Orders are not being raised. I need to raise a PO. So cross domain knowledge is very essential and important for you to gain deeper understanding of how a company works. Right. So I am a fresher. I don't have work experience. As I mentioned, I did my BBA from Christ University, and then I straight away came to XIM to pursue my MBA. Now, if you ask me if that posed a challenge in my internship, speaking from an internal locus of control point of view, I was very intimidated and frightened that I am a fresher and how will I place myself in the internship. But honestly speaking, going into L'Oreal, working for it, it did not matter that one was a fresher and one had work ex. We all brought different skills to the table. And those 2 months were honestly spent in honing those existing skills and picking up something entirely new, which was fresh to both freshers and work ex people alike. With L'Oreal, I think every day you have to think outside of the box because they design the internship in this sort of a way that you have to keep thinking on your feet. And with especially me, my project was very hands-on. It wasn't a very research-based project. It was very operational as such. So my work was to actively drive Matrix on Amazon. So every minute something was changing. So every minute I have to take decisions, I have to consult people, I have to understand the situation. So I don't think I can isolate any incidents where I had to think outside of the box. The internship demands you to think creatively, not just work wise, but the way you interact with people. There are so many different personalities that you always have to step out of your comfort zone, thread the line a little bit to stand out or feel the true spirit of the internship. Sure. So, as I mentioned, my project was to drive Matrix Hair Care on Amazon. Now, I reported to the professional products department under L'Oreal. Now, under L'Oreal, they had a few professional brands which only catered to salons up until in the pre-COVID era. So, these brands would be Biolage, L'Oreal Professionals, Matrix, Kerastase. However, in the post-COVID era, because of the boom of e-commerce, they decided to take these brands to Amazon, Flipkart, Nykaa, etc. So after these brands were launched, they were sort of dead in the beginning. So my job was to take care of Matrix and how Matrix performed on Amazon. So my job was to look at the product detail page to see the listings, if the product is in stock or not, how many sales are happening of Matrix, are Matrix's assets and properties good enough to go on Amazon? So my project took a lot of listening with internal teams of Matrix, internal teams of L'Oreal Professional, and external teams of Amazon as well. All in all, I think my major learnings from this project have been, I think they have been threefold. One, I got to understand the entire FMCG and beauty market because of L'Oreal. My brand, albeit was Matrix, I got to understand about consumer products as well, where I indulged in conversations about Maybelline, about L'Oreal India, about so many other products. Secondly, I got to understand the e-commerce space. There is so much that goes behind Amazon. For before I got into L'Oreal, it was just me opening Amazon, adding to cart, and checking out. But there are so many technicalities and so many nuances that every stage needs to be checked. And that was one of my biggest learnings at Amazon because e-commerce is the future. And I'm thankful to have gotten the understanding of what goes behind of me checking that checkout button. Finally, I think one of the biggest learnings will be my personal learnings. This was my first corporate experience, and that too a big one. I grew as a researcher. I grew as someone providing solutions. I learned to look at problems from different perspectives. So I think the third biggest learning will be a personal one. Right. Okay. With L'Oreal, I would just say that have fun. Make the best of every minute that you spend there. They design the internship in such a way that if you truly appreciate it, you walk out with a personal learning. You walk out with personal growth. There is so much more to it. The connections that you make at L'Oreal will help you for a long, long time. there are so many instances that whatever happens in my day-to-day life now or in my second year of MBA, I relate back to my internship. I relate back to the people I've spent my time at L'Oreal with. So I think this internship it will give you everything you need. It will give you growth. It will give you fun. It will give you creativity. It will give you stress as well also. So it is sort of a power packed opportunity, and you just need to have fun while doing it.
Hi, my name is Aayush Shrivastava. I completed my mechanical engineering from Srinagar University, Greater Noida. I'm a fresher. I've been pursuing marketing as my majors in XIM Bhubaneswar, and I minored in finance and operations. My internship was in Emami Agrotech, which is a FMCG company. And my task was to devise a rural distribution strategy for Emami Agrotech in Maharashtra. So the task was basically threefold. Firstly, I had to identify high potential areas and districts in rural Maharashtra which could be targeted for the expansion of the company. Secondly, I had to devise a pilot which could be run in a few villages just to test out the strategy. And finally, I had to propose rather a strategy for the company as a whole to expand in rural areas in Maharashtra and pan India. So when we're concerned about the FMCG industry, as you all know, the FMCG industry is very fast-paced and has a lot of functions, and it is very imperative that one understands the functioning of the sales industry in FMCG and the supply chains that go around in this industry before they start to work in the industry. I feel that as students, it is very important that we be aware of what is going around in the industry and also the company. For in this instance, it was Emami Agrotech. So to understand the portfolio and the product lines of Emami Agrotech, the cooking oil brands they have, is very important to gain all of the knowledge and to make the most of the internship. And when we come to the prerequisites, I feel that it is just the domain knowledge, the company knowledge that is very imperative. And the rest of the marketing and sales knowledge is just an added advantage. I feel that the management is looking for a very holistic individual, one who is not afraid to take steps, who is not afraid to take initiative. And I feel that initiative is one thing that is being valued very highly at organizations like Emami Agrotech and other organizations as well. So when they see an individual who is taking initiative and is working on his or herself to work for the betterment of the company, I feel that goes a long way. So initiative, perseverance, whenever given a task, make sure that you adhere to it and you give your best to make the most of it. Perseverance, and lastly, I feel that patience and hard work. So uh, in a corporate environment and surrounding, it is imperative that you make a mark for yourself and that you are very, you know, work ethic wise, you're very strong and very diligent. So I feel that these are the qualities that are required. So I feel that my contribution was more as to how could I bring in new ideas to the organization. So my task was to devise a rural distribution strategy. So firstly, I developed an economic potential index which helped the company identify the areas they need to target in their in their strategy for the next few years as to where are they going to expand in rural areas. So I feel that that was a very pivotal part of the internship. Secondly, I feel that when they are bringing in students like us, they want a fresh perspective as to whatever we are learning in our universities, how do we apply it in the scenario, in the real life, in the FMCG industry where it is heavily dependent on sales, and how do we apply it on the real ground. So I feel that it is very essential to keep those things in mind when we are going to a company and apply those skills there. So the academic curriculum at XIM Bhubaneswar is very rigorous, and as we all know, it prepares us for most of the challenges that we are going to face in life. But how does it supplement when it comes to the corporate environment? So what we learn at XIM is to always give our best and be there whatever the situation be, and that is what is required in most situations. When we talk about corporate and firms like Emami, where there is where everything is so fast paced and everything is done in a split second, it is always imperative to be on our feet and think on our feet and make decisions on the go. So I feel that the curriculum at XIM Bhubaneswar always prepares us for that. We are given ample opportunities to show ourselves, to you know give our best in these moments, and just to know that we are prepared for whatever lies out there in the world. So I was working in the sales department. So as you all know, and if you might not know, the sales hierarchy in a FMCG company is as follows: there is a sales head, there are regional sales managers, there are area sales managers, and there are then sales individuals who go on to shops to sell the products. So I was under the regional sales manager, and I was working to devise the strategy of the company when it came to rural parts of Maharashtra. So I had to speak to a lot of different individuals who were involved in the sales, who were involved in the strategy making. So it was a mix of people, and I feel that the best way is to talk simply and talk very politely and humbly with people who are there, who are working on the ground for the company, and it is very important that we value them so that they feel valued and they give their best for the company. I feel that when they feel valued, they also give in useful tips and pieces of information that the company can use in making a high level strategy for their future. My major learnings from the internship was first that it is very important to prove yourself in a corporate environment, wherever you go, wherever you work, whether it is an FMCG sector, a FMCG company, or any other company in any other sector. It is very important that you put your head down, you put yourself to work, and you show your superiors what you're capable of. Secondly, I feel that one thing that I learned, that it is very important that you focus on yourself rather than others and the noise around you. If you focus on yourself, your development, you're bound to make progress and you're bound to do things that are going to help your parent organization as well. Lastly, it is very important that you talk to people around you. You talk to seniors, superiors, anyone that can give you a fresher, a better perspective to things, and you can broaden your horizon just by talking to different people in the company. So I feel that these are the things that should be kept in mind, and I learned these things while my stint at Emami Agrotech. Well, being a fresher has its own pressure, and there are a few things that do come in mind. It can get a little overwhelming sometimes because you do not have that required exposure and experience of a corporate environment. But I feel that the best thing to do is put your head down and put yourself to work and let your work speak for itself. And I feel that that is the best strategy whenever you're going to a new place, to a new organization. When you've established yourself, when you've proven yourself, when your superiors know that you're capable of work, then you're in a place that you can, you know, uh, speak with them, talk to them about how the work can be done better, and talk in terms of efficiency. And all those things come later when you have, grown accustomed to these things. So I feel that as a fresher, it is very important just to put your head down to work. Well, definitely cross-domain knowledge definitely helps. It also depends on the kind of role you have and the kind of company you're working for. But in a company like Emami Agrotech, when you're working in an FMCG role, as you know, marketing and operations do go hand in hand. And an industry like FMCG, which is heavily built on sales, I think operations plays a crucial role because the salespeople, which targets they're visiting, which markets they're going to, everyone has, each and every company has limited resources and time. So it is very important to, utilize that time and on and those resources efficiently. So I feel that those are the things that are important. Yeah, surely. As I said, to the future interns who would work in Emami Agrotech, I would advise them to talk to a lot of people, to talk to seniors, to gain perspective, to gain a lot of knowledge just by speaking and contacting to a lot of people. I feel that this way they can gain a lot of knowledge. Secondly, I feel that even if you're not given a problem and if you see a problem in the organization, I would suggest them to just go on and put yourself to the problem on the problem and get a solution to that, because superiors and seniors always like it when you bring a solution to a problem that had never existed. So I think that these are two tips that would go a long way.
So, hi, I am Damini and I'm from Calcutta. I did my graduation from St. Xavier's, after which I started working with an advertising agency and then an FMCG startup, which gave me an edge during my internship, which was in GCPL, that is Godrej Consumer Products Limited. And my internship was as a sales intern, which was mainly to increase sales in the rural area. I believe there are no prerequisites as such required because the first year of studies that we've done is wholesome in itself. Apart from that, I also believe that GCPL as an organization, they give you all the prerequisites 1 week beforehand, and all you have to do is basic research. For me, Excel came in handy because I had a little of experience in Excel, and if you do have experience in Excel, it will give you an edge, especially if you are in a sales and a strategy position. Apart from that, I believe nothing as such of prerequisite is required. You can look up on the website as to how it works, and you can reach out to people if you want and interact with them, because they also allocate you the mentor and the buddies beforehand so that you can have a smooth interaction. During these 2 months, how you can stand out is basically by interacting a lot with people. You need to, there's no particular, they would want to see how effective and how bold an intern is. They would want to know your ownership skills. They would want to know if you're a reliable person or not. So you do not really have to concentrate a lot about contributing because it's more about the learning process. I believe in the first month, it's just about learning how the organization works, and then you ideate, and then you put forth your strategy. So I believe you can stand out by just showing the basic natural qualities that you have, which is going to work for you in your favor. Right. So the academic curriculum that we have is wholesome in itself. So this particular 2 months is just for your practical experience, and I believe that when you take in this theory and go into the practical field, you'll be able to apply. But more than that, you'll be able to take these 2 months and you'll be able to understand how the supply chain works, or for example, how the sales and the marketing in a particular organization like GCPL works. And I believe that once you have any, for me, 3 years of work experience was good enough for me to have an experience. But these 2 months also added a lot to me because it made me understand how the hierarchy in an FMCG works, which I did not have prior exposure to. So I believe these 2 months will give you a lot of will help you in going forward and applying all the theories and practical experience that you have and put them together. So for me, my internship was online, and I believe there's a lot of difference between online and offline because once you're in an online mode, it's very difficult to connect with people. In an offline mode, you can go greet them, but that's not possible during an online situation. So for me, what I did was I'd always believe, and the people were very warm to me and to all the interns, and they'd always say that take a call and pick up your phone, make a call, and it would always help you. And they were always very kind to us. And in that way, I believe, I used to reach out to them a lot. And uh, in the starting, I had this fear that, how do you get to them and maybe what are they going to think? But then that eventually got rubbed off because I believe I started taking calls a lot. I started speaking to them a lot, and they were warm and they helped me in the process. And this is not just related to the higher people in the hierarchy. It's also the area executives and the SOs and everyone in the organization. So I believe reaching out to them was very helpful for me during the online process. I believe that having a prior work experience, especially in the sales and the marketing department, did help me in the internship here. Also, what happened for me was, since I had an internship in the sales department itself, I was able to apply all the sales and the marketing experience and knowledge that I had from earlier. So it did work in my favor. Because I had an expertise in the marketing field, and also I believe that once you come with that experience, you're much more confident and you're able to put forth your ideas in a better way. So obviously it did work for me in my favor. Correct. I believe, yes, cross domain knowledge does give you an edge in internship, mainly because, if you're a sales intern, in my case, even when it's a sales project or a strategy project, you need to understand where is the break even point. And in that perspective, you need to have knowledge about the finance sector. And when you want to understand in the break even process, when you're calculating the break even point, for example, you must know the costs that are involved in the operation. So you must have knowledge about supply chain and operations. So I believe that cross domain knowledge does help you in internship. So I believe that there was not just one instance. The entire 2 months I had to think out of the box. Firstly, I had to think everything inside the box because and understand the process how it runs. And then because my internship was how do you increase the sales in the rural area specifically, I had to understand what was the earlier process and then make decisions and make strategies and come up with ideas as to, so we there were a lot of marketing ideas that we had and we implemented. So it was an overall journey of 2 months, which was just outside the box and not inside the box. And I believe it's not very hard to think. Once you understand the process, your mind starts working, and you eventually come up with ideas which will help you think out of the box. My project was mainly about how do you increase sales in the rural sector. So I had to reach out to all the area executives and the ASMs and everyone in the hierarchy and understand the process. Apart from that, once you understand the process, I what I did was I made implementations as to what kind of things are suitable in the rural areas. I reached out to people. I did go for a field visit in the rural area to understand people there. And right after understanding, I interacted with them for 2-3 days, and there was also ASHA workers there, which is a major integral part in the rural area. So I did reach out to them as well, and that is how it happened, and that is how we implemented the project. And my major learnings from this was that rural works very differently from urban, because once you interact with rural people, you understand how emotional and sentimental they are. So you need to play safe, and there's a catch wherein you can actually reach out to them, and you need to understand their emotions, and then you need to apply the strategies so that your sales actually increase. And how do you put forth your ideas, how do you communicate that your product is good, and maybe your service in that case is also great. Correct. So I believe that there is no particular advice as to what I can give you. All I can say is that, never be shy of picking up a phone and making a call, because people out there are very warm. We do not really know if the people on the other side how they are, but trust me, they are very kind and they will help you to the best of their potential. And I believe just keep working hard, and also never ever be shy of reaching out to people. That's my main advice to you, that always reach out to people. They'll always be there for you. That's it.